Hello students, I am Dr. Garima Srivastava from Lal Bahadur Shastri College, Lucknow. Now I am going to take up the topic of importance of communication. We have already studied what is communication. Now communication was a very important part of the organization which plays a key role in transforming an information and translating it into specific meaningful form and giving it to the receiver. So, now it becomes very important to understand why is it important for communication for the management. Now, importance of communication. Now, there is certain importance of communication, that is why an organization bases its all the functions on the communication itself. Now, first of all it serves as the basis of decision making and planning. Communication is an essential for decision making and planning. So, any kind of decisions whether it is short term, whether it is medium term or long term planning of the organization, all these are based on the certain kind of communication. Now, of course, we have an information, we gather the information, we make it into useful form and try to give it to the people who are at the receiving end of this information. Now, of course, if this information is not given in a proper manner, if it is not delivered in a proper manner to the receiver, it becomes very difficult for the receiver to get that information and perceive it in his own knowledge. So, for that purpose, it is important that we try to deliver the information in a very specific manner. So, it enables the management to secure information without which it is not possible to take any decision. So, for taking of any of the decision of the organization, the base is the in collection of the information. The quality of managerial decision depends upon the quality of communication. Now, whatever communication is being made, the quality of that kind of communication, whatever inputs you put into the communication, the information that you gather from different departments or from different situations, all these are serving as the factors for decision making of the managers. Now, further the decisions and the plans of the management need to be communicated to the subordinates. Now, of course, once the management is able to understand the decisions, understand the various communication information, it will communicate the same decisions that are based on this communication to the subordinates. Without effective communication, it may be almost impossible to issue instructions to the others. Effective communication helps in proper implementation of the policies of the management. So, of course, whatever decision has been made, whether in terms of policies, rules, regulation, procedures, it has to be implemented through communication. Now, of course, this communication can be in written form as well as in the verbal form. Now, if these policies are being written down in different notices through different circulars in the organization, then of course people will be able to understand them through this particular written notice, and of course with this written notice, if the head of the department comes forward to speak something about this particular policy, the people will be able to better understand whatever decisions have been made by the management. Now, secondly, if we see, it is smooth and efficient working of an organization. Of course, if the decisions and the policies are going on very smoothly in the organization, they go hand in hand with the working of the organization, because all the functions, all the processes of the organization are based on these particular decisions of the management. Now, these decisions of the management are based on the different data or different information that has been collected from different levels, different departments or sources of information. In the words of George R. Terry, it serves as a lubricant fostering for the smooth operations of the management processes. So, it almost serves as a lubricant, without which there may be friction, there may be wear and tear of the processes that are being carried out in the organization. Communication makes possible the smooth and efficient working of an enterprise. Now, of course, through understanding of various policies, rules, regulations and proper implementation of this particular policies into the organization, it will make the working conditions, working climate, information, environment of the organization a very smooth running. It will help it to regulate it in a very smooth and efficient manner. It is only through communication that management changes and regulates the action of subordinates in the desired direction. Now, of course, if there are some kind of changes that can be made through collection of different data, if we find out that some kind of changes are to be made, then that can also be done through the proper or efficient communication. Thirdly, if we see, it is facilitates the coordination of the various functions. Now, of course, we cannot talk an organization in terms of a single process or a single department, because an organization always works interdependently, and it is always interrelated with all the other departments in the organization. People in the organization are also interdependent and interrelated. So, you cannot work as in a finance department alone without collection of data from marketing department or HR department or say IT department. Similarly, an IT department person cannot work alone on the data related to its own department and without depending on the other departments. So, a coordination needs to be maintained between the different departments, between the different people in the organization. Now, how can this coordination be maintained? It will be maintained through proper and efficient communication. Management is an art of getting things done through others, and this objective of management cannot be achieved unless there is unity of purpose and harmony of efforts. It binds the people together and facilitates coordination. Next, if we see, it increases the managerial efficacy. Of course, the efficiency of management is dependent on various factors. That means, whatever decisions have been taken by the management are efficient enough, are implicable, and they result into fruitful areas, or it result into productivity of the organization. Now, efficiency of a manager depends on his ability to communicate effectively with the members of the organization. Now, of course, efficiency will directly depend on his ability as to how a manager communicates with the other people of the organization, whether that person belongs to different department or it belongs to different head office of the department. It is only through communication that management conveys its goals and desires, issues instructions, orders, allocates jobs and responsibility, and evaluates performance of the subordinates. Now, of course, management is not only related with making of the decisions, it has to take care of many other functions that are being going on in the organization. Like we say, it tries to develop certain goals and objectives for the organization. Now, of course, these goals and objectives have to be conveyed to other people in the organization down the line. Why? Because these goals will be achieved by the help of these people only, the work of these people. So, this particular goal or desires have to be conveyed to the people down the line. Now, of course, if they do not understand your goal, if they do not understand the goal of the organization, how will they be able to serve the organization better? So, it is the responsibility of management that it conveys its actual goals, actual achievement, actual objectives to the employees of the organization. Then, of course, these employees will be allocated different kinds of jobs according to their skills and experience areas and responsibilities. And then at last, what will happen? Once this particular process has been completed, has been implemented, it has to be evaluated, because the need of evaluation is too much in any organization. Now, what happens when we evaluate something? Evaluation means whatever was being desired, has that been achieved or not? This is the proper question of evaluation. Now, of course, no system will give you 100% output. That means, what was being desired, you get the same output, because there is certain kind of wear and tear in the organization, and it is always influenced by some kinds of internal and external environmental factors. So, there is always some gap between what was being desired and what you achieve at the end of the implementation of a particular process. So, it becomes the responsibility of the management only to evaluate the performance of the various subordinates in the organization. Why? Because all the processes in the organization are almost cyclic in manner. They keep on repeating a number of times in the organization. So, whenever that process is repeated again, you can rectify it, you can make changes in the next time and make it more efficient, make that process more efficient through this rectification. Now, coming down to the fifth one, it promotes cooperation and industrial peace. Now, of course, over here we are talking about cooperation between the employer and the employees. Now, it promotes cooperation between the employer and employees. Without communication, there cannot be any kind of cooperation or industrial peace in the organization. It is only through communication that the workers put their grievances, problems and suggestions to the management, which ultimately leads to the industrial peace. Now, what happens when we take different policies, when we see into different rules and regulations of the organization, if they are very efficiently implemented in any of the organization, now this organization will run in a very smooth manner. That means, level of dissatisfaction among the employees will be at a lower edge. So, if the level of satisfaction is more in the organization, in that case there will be cooperation amongst the people in the organization and lesser number of conflicts or disputes will be there. So, if there are lesser number of conflicts or disputes in the organization, that means there is a kind of peace that is prevailing in the industry. That means, an employer need not be concerned with other factors related to disputes, related to conflicts of the organization. So, it will save a lot of time that an employer has to put into solving of these kind of conflicts. So, the grievances can also be lowered to a much extent. Now, coming down to the sixth one, it helps in establishing effective leadership. Communication is the basis of effective leadership. It is absolutely necessary for maintaining a man-to-man relationship in the leadership. It brings manager who is a leader and a subordinate who is a follower in close contact with each other and help to establish effective leadership. So, through effective communication, we can build a trust, we can build up a relation of confidence, loyalty between the employer and the employee, or an upper level management with the lower level management, which is very important in an organization. Why? Because if there will be a friction between the different levels of management, the people will tend to resist to do the work which has been allotted to them. Similarly, they will not try to understand the problems of the manager or management, and they will also delay in doing that particular kind of work. So, it is very necessary they understand the basic objective of the organization. So, if the objective of the organization is served, it automatically serves the objective of the individual himself. It brings the manager and the subordinate close to each other. Then, motivation and morale. So, of course, if effective leadership is there, good conducive relationship is developed between the employer and the employee, and employees become more and more motivated and their morale is boosted to work to give more productivity to the organization, because employee sees that the employer is concerned for him. There is a very soft nature of the employer, and of course, soft nature does not mean the level of strictness is less. You can put up code of discipline as a strong effective way through to set up discipline in the organization, but at different places the type of communication should be very much understanding, it must be harmonious. So, through communication workers are motivated to achieve the goals of the enterprise and their morale is boosted. So, once the goals of the enterprises, objectives of the organizations are met, it ultimately gives fruits to the employees also, and what happens to this? The employees become more and more motivated. The manager can also motivate people by effective communication. For example, proper drafting of messages, proper timing of communication and the way of communication. That means, whatever sentences, whatever words you are using for drafting of your messages, whatever communication that you are doing, that should be in a very proper manner, very harmonious manner. It should be aimed at trying to make people understand what you are trying to say, not that you are telling them, you are giving them a kind of order in a very rude manner. So, there is a difference between a rude rude behavior and a strict behavior. This thin line of difference should be understood by the manager or a leader of the organization. Increases the managerial capacity. So, managerial capacity means the capacity of a particular manager will also be increased if he has an efficient team. So, if he does a particular work in 10 days with an efficient team, this work can be completed in a lesser time. Effective communication increases managerial capacity too. Through communication, a manager can effectively delegate his authority and responsibility to others, and thus increases his managerial capacity. So, of course, by getting a good team, by getting a cooperative team which tries to complete the work before time or within the time, the manager has to give certain kind of responsibility and authority to this particular team also, because in the absence of authority or responsibility, the team will not be able to work that efficiently, and they will not be able to take small decisions on a particular topic. So, for all those smaller decisions that come day to day in the working of a particular process, the authority or responsibility should be vested in the team with which the manager is working. Then effective control. Managerial functions of control implies the measurement of actual performance, comparing it with standards that are being set up according to the plans, and taking corrective actions of deviations, if any, to ensure attainment of the enterprise. Now, controlling is actually the evaluation of the work that has been completed at the end of the process. Now, we are already talking about what is the importance of communication. Now, importance of communication starts right from where the process starts. So, of course, after the process is completed, it is necessary that it has to be evaluated. Now, through this evaluation, what will happen? When you find out the gap between the desired and the achieved, you will be able to control the process next time. That means, whatever has been lagging, whatever has been loopholes in a particular process, you will be able to cover them in the next time when this same process or the function is maintained in the organization. So, when we compare the desired with the actual performance, there we get a gap, there we always get a gap, because there is no 100% efficiency in the working of any of the organization. So, how do we get this gap? We set up these set standards beforehand, before starting this particular process. So, whenever the process is started, the setting up of this standard is being done by the management itself. That means, what was being desired, this is being set up beforehand. Now, at the end of the process, or when the process completes, you compare this desired standard with whatever was being achieved. Of course, you will get a gap. Now, if this gap is there, you need to repeat the cycle again, you need to repeat the process or the function again. Now, when you repeat the process, you will try to check it at every step where this loophole or where this lacking was there in the process. So, then again after this, when you check the particular process for the loopholes, you plan it again and you plan the different acts. Now, when we talk about planning, planning can be of three types. It can be of short term, medium term and long term. Now, when we talk about process and planning, process need to be checked on the basis of plans. Now, what are the processes which can be short term, which can be medium term or which can be long term? Communication acts as a tool of effective control. Now, how it acts as a tool of effective control? Because we need to communicate that there is a gap between desired and the actual output of the particular process. How the people will come to know? People will come to know when management will give them information about what was the gap that was being found out from the effective evaluation of the process. So, now this communication needs to be done to the people who are working on the same process, that where were these gaps created. Now, it also creates job satisfaction. Effective communication creates job satisfaction among the people, as it increases mutual trust and confidence between management and employees. The gap between management and employees is reduced through the efficient means of communication, and a sense of belongingness is created among the employees. Now, whenever the management talks to its employees or delivers to its employees frequently, the employees also think that the management is concerned about them, management is concerned about the fulfillment of organizational objectives, and with this the management also looks after the various needs of the employees. That means it has to be two way. The management has to give instructions or orders, it also has to convey the different messages regarding its policies, rules and regulations. Similarly, on the other hand, employees should also be encouraged to give their suggestions and tell their grievances to the management. Then only this kind of job satisfaction can be achieved. That is why this process is called as a two-way process, where sender has to give something, deliver the information, then the receiver perceive it, and he will also again give it back to the give his feedback to the sender. Then comes the democratic management. Communication is also essential for democratic management. It helps to achieve workers' participation in management by involving workers in the process of decision making. In the absence of an efficient system of communication, there cannot be any kind of delegation or decentralization. Of course, when we give a certain kind of authority, it is necessary that the management should be democratic. It should be, its thought should be free. It should encourage, it should give that kind of freedom to the employees, that the employees come forward and speak their mind, speak their thoughts and systems to the management. It increases the productivity and reduces the cost. Efficient communication saves time and effort. It increases the productivity and reduces the cost of the organization. So, without communication, it is not possible to work together in a group and achieve benefits of a large scale production. Now, it also improves public relationship. In the present business world, every business enterprise has to create and maintain a corporate image that has to be good, that has to be loyal in the eyes of the society. It is only through effective communication that the management can present a good corporate image to the workers, customers, suppliers, shareholders, government and community at large. That means all its stakeholders have to be in a good impression of the organization. Now, coming down to the next topic, that is communication network. When we talk about importance of communication, we also need to check that what kind of network is being followed in an organization. Now, communication, if we talk about communication, it always follows a network. What is a network? When communication moves from one person to another, every person is a node. Now, of course, if it also moves through a department, through different departments, every department will be a node. Now, suppose it moves from A to B, B to C, C to D and D to E. This is a communication network. Now, this communication can be done in the similar manner as A, B, C, D, E. It can also be done as A, C, D, E, that means bypassing B. So, all these type of networks, all the collection of this different type of topology in the communication is called the network in the organization. Now, we need to check that communication or the information has passed through which kind of network, which kind of node in the organization. That is why communication network is important. A communication network refers to how information flows within the organization. Information within an organization generally flows through a system rather than a free flow. Now, communication network are regular patterns of person to person relationship through which information flows in the organization. Now, of course, whenever the information flows in the organization, whether from person to person or department to department, it will flow in a proper pattern. Now, this pattern or this trend is called as communication network. Now, if we see into the proper communication network, we have 5 types of communication network. So, first one is vertical network, circuit network, chain network, wheel network and star network. Then vertical network, it is usually between superior and subordinate and vice versa, that is, it is only one way and one person to another, it is two way and one person to another. The immediate feedback is possible in this type of network, it is a formal kind of network. Chain network, Chain network is a network which follows the organization hierarchy and chain of command follows. That means, as the command flows in the organization, in a similar manner the communication will also flow. That means, command always flows from top to bottom in the organization. Therefore, chain network communication will always flow from top to bottom. So, all the subordinates receive command or instructions from their superior. BCD and EFG will receive the command from A in the organization hierarchy, and because A is at a superior position in the hierarchy, which follows the way as shown in the diagram. Circuit network. Under this network, two persons communicate with each other. Say Mr. A sends a message to Mr. B. After receiving message, Mr. B again communicates his feedback to Mr. A. So, communication takes the form of a circuit. Therefore, it is called as a circuit. That means, if B does not gives his feedback, then in that case the circuit breaks. So, such kind of communication may be called as a vertical network, not a circuit network. For a circuit network, the communication needs to be complete. That means, a sender should send some information to the receiver. Similarly, receiver has to give a kind of feedback to the sender. So, communication takes the form of a circuit. Therefore, it is known as a circuit communication. It is similar to vertical network, but in a circuit network, A and B are not necessarily superior and subordinate. Then comes the wheel network. The command or information is from a single superior and subordinate form a wheel and network, wheel in the network. The entire network is highly centralized format and expects immediate feedback once the message is given. That means, A is the superior and B, C, D, E are the subordinates. They receive this particular information from A only, and they give their reports back to the central person, that is A. So, this is a very highly centralized kind of format which we call as wheel network. There is no chance of miscommunication. Why? Because B, C, D, E are not communicating with each other. Only A is communicating with B, he is only communicating with D, A with E and A with C. That means, single network, single way, single path of communication is following between each of the node. That means, whatever information is there with A, it is not given to other people in the network. Startups mostly use this type of network. When we talk about the last kind of network, that is star network, mesh topology, it is also called as mesh topology. It follows the informal channel of command or communication and provides optimum satisfaction to our individuals. Information flows very fast in this kind of network, though there may be a problem of coordination. Why? Because anyone can talk to anyone in the organization. Now, if we do not follow this kind of, if we do not follow a formal kind of channel and we follow this kind of topology, there will always be a communication, because everyone in the node is free to communicate with everyone else in the organization. So, there is a single path of communication in a single channel network. For a particular position, and information flows through the path only to various persons. There is usually an official path of better communication where information transfers through proper channel between manager and the employee. So, now if we talk about all these kind of networks, so see, this is a star network or a mesh topology where everyone can be communicating with other person in the organization. So, now if we talk about all these kinds of network, what do they depict? They depict the efficiency of flow of communication in the network. So, that is why it is important in the communication network, communication in the organization, that you see which kind of network is being followed in an organization. Thank you.